What is your I was into X before it was cool thing? Swine flu, I got it in February 2008 and was the third reported case worldwide. You and the person who got corona should become friends. And share a case of Corona beer with some bacon. I named my cat Corona, because that was the only box we had to carry her home in. I thought it was an adorable name. 3 years later, and that name has aged phenomenally. I have a buddy who named his dog Zika. Y'all should get together. I have a cat named Isis, though now she goes by the self-proclaimed Neo-Islamic State. Could be worse, could be Toyota in 2004 naming one of their new MPVs the Isis. The Toyota formerly known as Isis. Snowboarding, you couldn't even bring them to resorts. 1983. This is before it was too hot. Hulu in 2008. It used to be completely free, browser-based, with no ads. It was the only way for me to watch new episodes of Heroes every week. Netflix in 05 to 06. Getting not one, not two but 3 DVDs sent to the house for just $9.99 a month. Lol. It was such a cool system back then. I remember reading a shitload about classics and then queuing them up to binge on weekends. I have very fond memories of it. I first saw The Simpsons when it was a sketch on the Tracy Ullman Show, and thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I was ecstatic when I learned they were making a full cartoon of it. I watched it religiously up until about season 15 or 16 before I finally switched to every once in a while like we all eventually did. Don't want to brag, but I bought some N95 masks the second week of January. Someone had a big brain moment. I thought it was a big brain thing to do when I bought like 30 of them for a big group of friends and I who were going to a summer festival together, when the entire West Coast us was on fire the summer of 2018, causing a lot of smoke problem for some festival campgrounds. Anyway, nobody ended up using a single one cause we were all busy getting drunk and doing drug and being degenerates. Then COVID hit and I had my galaxy brain moment when the N95 masks were being sold at like $7 to $10 a unit. My mum keeps a whole bunch of them since mid-2010s cause she worked in China for a while. She's happily trudging through her stockpile. I was out for the night back when I was 171,819. A friend and I went to a good pub in Oxfordshire where we thought we'd have a chance to pick up some girls. Ended up getting drunk, taking an E and listening to the band who were pretty good. After their set we popped out of the pub for a quick joint. The band walked over and asked for a toke. Ended up spending the rest of the evening in the back of their van smoking weed and drinking. Turned out that the band was an unknown indie rock group called Radiohead. A couple of weeks later Creep went international. Been a fan ever since. Edited to correct some piss poor spelling, edited again. Wow, never thought this would blow up anywhere near this much. Thank you to the generous people who have given me awards, especially the gold one. Sent an electronic mail message from my car using a HP 48G calculator and a ham radio in 1993. That feat got published in a technical magazine. Nothing about that first sentence sounds cool, but I know the G is for gangster. Edit, thanks for all the love, upvotes, and awards. To answer the common questions, I wrote a terminal emulator for the 48 grams. That talked to a terminal node controller, which is like a modem to interface between the calculator and radio. The message, don't remember the exact details, but I was 16 so it probably went to my mom's Prodigy account to say hi mom, went through the ham radio packet network until it hit a node with an internet bridge. The car was my POS 88 Mustang that I bought for $1,800. Lastly, the source for G is for gangster as it relates to HP 48 grams comes from the incredible Nerdrap Entertainment System album by Whitey Cracker. I don't know what those things are or how they work. But you are a damn trailblazer. Respect. Home computing. I started in 1976. Before RGB there was only green. I had an ASR Model 33 teletype and an inexhaustible source for rolls of paper and punch tape. Ink ribbons were a problem, but I had an endless supply of ink cartridges for some IBM printer that I could break open and spool onto the bobbins. I also, through a weird series of coincidences, had online access to a few services like Telextooks and a couple of remote computer systems where I could interact and/or execute programs. So I was already very immersed in a computing and networked communication scene long before home computers were a thing. I'm very grateful that the journey made it possible for me to get the kits and the parts and the know-how to build my first S100 bus machine. Oddly enough, it's because I was into amateur radio that any of this stuff crossed my path in the first place. Good times. Did you turn that interest into a career or just keep it as a hobby? That's Bill Gates you just replied to. You made me check. Follows Linux, so probably not lol. Ah, the was, then. Had Tesla stock at $28. Saw an article about it with a starting price of $10. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Yeah. Oddly, I didn't think I was that early. Like they seemed big to me and bought a kit 100 shares. Was my first investment and got nervous at $240-ish and sold. I worked for a movie theater chain in 1996, and my boss got a VHS copy of Jesus vs. Santa Claus at some industry event. We watched that video a dozen times and laughed our asses off. About 6 months later, South Park debuted on Comedy Central, and we were very excited to see it had been picked up. Oh man, just made me realize I'm getting old. Skateboards. 1964 or so. Damn, that's before the Lords of Dogtown. My husband is 62 and still skating bowls. A picture of him holding a board is in Wes Humpston's book. Please let your husband know he is ducking rad. Spotify. I remember I had to use a VPN to use it in my country. I forgot about this one. I distinctly remember telling people about it when I was in 6th grade, 2011, and my teacher telling me something like, Therese, no way, that's legal legit. I've been a continuously paying user since 2008. I remember back when it was free and there wasn't a whole lot there, then they started charging and I was like, yo, WTF, how can you do this to me? Crazy how big it grew. I was sleeping with my ex long before everyone started doing it. I was into memes when they were called demotivational posters. I remember going around to stores trying to find all 6 issues of Infinity Gauntlet. I had read one while waiting on my mom to finish grocery shopping and I was hooked. That made me a dork in the early 90s. But now it's a $1 billion worldwide phenomenon. Ducking A. I hear you. Silver Surfer number 34. My dad told me he had a Silver Surfer number 2 in a Detective comic number 27, first appearance of Batman, among a bunch of others. He only read them once or twice and put it into a plastic sleeve, otherwise near perfect condition. My grandma gave his entire box of comics to a neighborhood kid when he moved out for college. That last line hurts so badly. Why grandma, hi? It's like my friend's mom who tossed out his N64 and GameCube. Like what? She actually threw them in the trash when he couldn't bring them to his apartment. I came across the Lonely Island's website when I was about 11 or 12, 0203, before Andy Samberg or the other two, Akiva and Yorma, were big. They had a video where they spliced all these old NES games together into a skit and it was friggin' hilarious. I never realized that video was them. I love that video. Thank you. I got Instagram when it was a photography app back in 2011. Same. I remember asking my friend how she got her photos to look so cool. That's when I discovered filters. Those were simpler times, when IG was more fun, personal and not filled with advertisements. Before Facebook bought it. The Zuck ruins everything he touches. The How to Train Your Dragon books. Unfortunately, they're still not cool yet. Therese books? 12 of them, be prepared, they are very different. They're also very, very good. I enjoy the books more for you. Ick are like the only things that are the same as the names, time, place, and that there are dragons. Time isn't even the same, the movies are about Hiccup I and the books are Hiccup the Third or 4. And isn't Toothless a lot smaller in the books as well? If I remember correctly, he is about the size of a poodle or something. Yeah, he was a common garden dragon, quite a runt really. Wasn't it revealed that he's actually a baby giant sea dragon or whatever? The same breed as the Dragon Furious and the Woden's Fang. I remember that quite clearly, but maybe I'm wrong. Edit, spoiler tagged it, very sorry.